Hey guys, so here's the notes for section 6, day 1. We are going to be writing linear equations in standard form. Well, let's first talk about what is standard form going to be. Well, linear equation is written in the form ax plus by equals c. Now, a, b, and c are numbers. Now, they say A and B can't be non-zero. That just means, well, they can't be zero, okay? Now, our A is going to be very special. The B and C, it doesn't really matter, okay? A, okay, cannot be a fraction. And it cannot be negative. So we need to make sure we always have a whole number for our A value. B and C, when we do this, B and C are going to be automatically integers, but B and C can be negative numbers if they need to be. So we just have to make sure we watch out for that A value so it is a whole number. So that means like numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up. Okay? So make sure you write this down in your notes for when we need to write linear equations, and that's what we're doing right now. Okay, let's go ahead and do our first example. We're going to write an equation in standard form for the line through the given points. Now, when we do this, we start off by solving or by finding the slope. Okay, so remember our slope is going to be the y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Don't forget, label your points. It's going to be so much easier so you can just plug it into the formula and not mess up. So we have x sub 1 and y sub 1, x sub 2 and y sub 2. Okay, so now let's plug those values in. So I have 4 minus 0 all over 6 minus a negative 2. Okay, on the top I get 4. What happens to our bottom? Well, remember, a negative and a minus, they become positive. So I just get 6 plus 2. And so that gives me 4 over 8. And we need to simplify that, which I get a half. So we got our slope. There we go. Now, our next step we're going to do is we're going to put this into point slope form. Okay, so we know our slope is 1/2. Now, they have given us 2 points, okay? So you can use either point. I always suggest using the easier one, but you can use either, doesn't matter, because you will get the same answer no matter what. So let's kind of look at the points. We have negative 2, 0, and 6, 4. I'm going to say maybe negative 2, 0 is going to be a little bit easier just because anything with 0 makes things a little bit easier. So let's go with that one. If you want to try the other point and see if you get the same answer, you can definitely do that if you want to. Okay, so remember our point-slope form is that y minus y sub 1 equals n times x minus x sub 1. So n is our 1/2, and we have x sub 1 and y sub 1. So let's plug these in. So we have y minus 0 equals 1/2 times x. Now remember, when we plug this in, we have minus a negative. That means we really have a plus. Okay, so don't forget that. Now, what we need to do, once we put it into that point slope form, now we need to put it into standard form. So we're going to use the point slope form to put into standard form. So this does have 3 steps that you do need to do. So just kind of follow the steps and maybe write them out will definitely help. So I have my y minus 0. I'm just rewriting what I had before. Okay. So my first thing I'm going to do is take the 1/2 and multiply by the x and the positive 2. So y minus 0 equals 1/2 x. Now, 1/2 plus 2, you can plug that into your calculator if you need to. Don't forget just to make the 1/2 and 2, or put parentheses around it, and then times 2. We get 1, so that's nice. And that's a positive 1. Now, the whole goal is to put your x and y on one side and the numbers on the other. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides. So now I have negative 1/2 x plus y minus 0 equals 1. Now I'm going to move the 0. So I add 0 to both sides. So now I get negative 1/2 x plus y equals 1. Now my last step is, remember, the a value, which is going to be the number in front of x, that always has to be a positive number, and it can't be a fraction. It has to be an integer. So in order to make it so, what we're going to do is multiply every single term by the denominator. So notice the denominator is 2, and to get rid of that negative, we need to multiply everything by negative 2. Okay? Now we're going to take this negative 2 and distribute to the negative 1/2, to the y, and to the 1. So this is where you really got to be careful, because we got to distribute to everything. Well, the negative 2 and negative 1/2, they cancel, so I'm left with x. Okay? Then my negative 2 times the y gives me minus 2y, and then negative 2 times the 1 will just give me negative 2. And so now I have all integers. My a value is positive and a whole number. And that's how we write it in our standard form. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to try the next one as well. If you want to try this one on your own, I highly suggest pausing the video to do so. Okay, let's see what you got. So first thing is, we need to find the slope, just like we did last time. So m equals our y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So we have labeling here my x sub 1 and y sub 1, and x sub 2 and y sub 2, just to make it easier to plug things in. So I have a 5 minus a negative 2, and then a negative 1 minus 3. Okay, on the top that becomes 5 plus 2. On the bottom I get negative 4. And so when I do this, I get 7 over 4. And it's going to be negative because of that negative there. So negative 7 over 4. Okay, once I've done that, now I'm going to go ahead and put into point slope form. Now remember, we know our slope is negative 7/4. The points you get to choose, okay? Now sometimes you might look at it and you're like, I don't know which one's the easier point. Okay, well that might happen. I would suggest, because we might have to multiply by an even number, that maybe we want an even number for x if it's possible. We don't really have that, so maybe going with a negative 1 might help a little bit more. So I'm going to go with that. So sometimes it might just be a trial and error type of thing. If you don't really know what's going to be easier. Okay, so remember we have y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Okay, so I have my x sub 1 and y sub 1. So plugging things in, I have y minus 5 equals negative 7/4 x. Okay, remember with a negative and a subtraction becomes a plus 1. Okay, now my next step here is to basically rearrange my point slope form to put it into standard form. So I'm just going to rewrite this. And I have x plus 1. Okay. So I need to take my negative 7/4, multiply by the x and the positive 1, so I have y minus 5 equals negative 7/4 x, and then minus 7/4. Okay? Okay, now from here, I'm going to add 7/4 to both sides, 7/4 x, excuse me, so I can move that over. So now I have 7/4 x plus y minus 5 equals negative 7/4. I'm going to add 5 to both sides, okay? So I have 7/4 x plus y. Now this is where use your calculator, okay? Definitely use your calculator. So I'm going to put negative 7/4 plus 5 into there. If you get a decimal, that is all right. If you get a fraction, that is all right as well. So I have parentheses negative 7 divided by 4. And this time we're not multiplying, we are actually adding 5. So we get 3.25. Okay, just use your calculator, please. Okay, now notice our a value is a fraction. We really can't have that. It has to be a whole number. Now the nice thing is it's already positive, so you don't need to multiply by a negative. But remember, to get rid of that denominator or get rid of the fraction, multiply by the denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So I'm going to multiply the 7/4, the y, and the 3.25. Okay? Well, the 4's, of course, cancel, so I'm left with 7x. 4 times y gives me plus 4y. And once again, please use your calculator. Just put in 4 times 3.25. And we get 13. So that's nice. We get a integer there. And so now we have integers. Our a value is positive and all that stuff. 7x plus 4y equals 13 will be our final answer there. Okay. Make sure if you have any questions, you contact me, and make sure you work on the homework assignment. I'll see you guys later.